What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building. You feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks. All right, let's get straight right into it. So you already know, last night was obviously it was a great game, man. A great game, an important game. Kevin Durant makes his return. Not only does he make his return back from, you know, that knee injury, he also makes his debut with the Phoenix Suns because, as y'all know, he's been traded to the Phoenix Suns. And, the Phoenix Suns are the fourth seed currently in the West, and they're trying to make a push, to end the season strong, end off as a well oiled machine, and then, make a playoff push and see what happens, and this basically a quick turnaround, trading for Kevin Durant, losing Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, etc. So, you know, for the most part, a lot of people, there's people who would be saying the Suns, but then there's a lot of people saying, and it don't mean nothing because, some people are trying to get it's like a lose-lose. They're trying to say it's a super team because KD's there. But then they're also saying it's not a super team because, you know, that team has never won. Also, too, you have it where, oh no, they don't have defense anymore, and obviously they're top heavy with the four guys. They have no bench. They lack this, they lack that. So it's like it's all is this catch 22? Is you win if you win, you're damned if you don't. You lose, win. Like it's a lose situation. Sorry, like it's just a lose situation. Like it's coming in. So obviously, because it's Katie, they're always going to find a way to put him in that lose-lose situation. If he wins, oh my God, he had to stack the deck, bomb, and all that type of stuff. And then if he loses, or his team he's not a leader. And then you get the whole that team doesn't have defense, they have no bench, they lost a lot, all of that type of stuff. Y'all criticizing the team and saying that it's unconventional and they're losing a lot, they're not gonna win. But then if he wins, he should though. Like it's just crazy. But anyways, we move past that. The point is, KD made his debut. This is one of the players that, like, anytime he comes back from injury, it don't mean nothing. Like, is out the gate running. 10 for 15, high efficiency as always. I'm efficiency. My goodness, yo. Efficiency, I'm efficient. See? That's what we talking about. Like, it's just buckets galore. You know what I'm saying? And just like, no matter where he's at on the floor, he gonna score. You feel me? Like, it's just like that. It's just easy. It's just easy money. That's what they call him. That's easy money, literally. Like, that's a perfect name for him. Easy money. Like, it's light work. It's not difficult. It's just, even though it is difficult for him, it's not. It's just easy work. Like riding a bike. But like, I've never seen a player in NBA history that could be plugged and played in any scenario, any gym, any system, any team setting, any league. Like, you could go to Rutgers, same easy money. He goes he's with OKC, he's with Seattle, same easy money. Don't matter. And the thing, not just him being easy money, everybody else is still the best version of themselves. Devin Booker still got 37. If that's another player, that player has to sacrifice and he's getting work. Like, this is what I'm talking about. A lot of these players, for them to go off, a lot of these guys have to sacrifice. KD ain't like that. KD could go off. Devin Booker, that's why I worked with Golden State. I could go off. Clay could go off. We could all go off. I could only get 12 shots, and I still get 27, 10 for 12, 9 for 12, 7 for 11. Like, this is who he is, yo. And he's off the ball for majority. Like, the skill set is impeccable. It's out of this world. It's outer-worldly, like, otherworldly. Like, it's just different. And that's what I try to tell people. Like, when it's all said and done, like, y'all are not appreciating him because, again, a lot of y'all are not basketball fans. A lot of y'all are Bron fans first and everything else second. So because y'all are Bron fans first, a guy who prevented Bron from winning a ring and having an even better case at the GOAT or all this, like, the ring conversation gets shaky for LeBron and LeBron fans because he's one of the only superstars who's lost more than he's even won. So y'all have to bring up the whole KD did this and KD affected that. So y'all are naturally going to hate KD just off of that. Just off of that. Like, they're not going to put respect on KD's name because if you put respect on KD's name, it's going to dim some light off of LeBron's name. This is how fan bases work. You could see the agenda. You could see, like, they can't just take their emotions back and take their perspective back and who they love back and their biases back and just look at the game and appreciate greatness for what it is and just call stuff what it is. KD, it's a skill set and a enhancement and a appreciation when you just look at it for all the different teams he's played in, all the different players he's played with, great talent, etc. None of them have dropped off. They've been their close to best version of themselves or their best version of themselves alongside KD. Other players have played with that same player, and that player hasn't been what they have been when they played with KD. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a buck. The list goes on from Kyrie. We've seen the version of Kyrie that LeBron had versus the version of Kyrie that KD had. Proof is in the pudding. We've seen the Westbrook version that LeBron had versus the Westbrook version that KD had. Proof is in the pudding. You know what I'm saying? We've seen like the list goes on. I can name more, but the list goes on. We've seen KD even in Team USA. We've seen him with Brooklyn. We've seen him with Golden State. We've seen him with OKC. We've seen him with Seattle, and now we're seeing him with the Suns in day one, and nothing has changed. That's different. Not a lot. Rarely is there any player that can even do that and be that efficient regardless. Like, it's different when it comes to him. And that's what I try to tell people. I try to do my best to appreciate Kevin Durant's skill sets and the abilities that he brings to the table, while other people look at the wrong things, or if they want to look at anything to, get at him for. It's like it's not with the same lens that you should be looking at it with. Because if you look at it with the real lens of what's actually happening, certain things that you're actually getting at him for it doesn't match. It doesn't correlate. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, making his debut with the Suns, and people look at the Suns as they don't have good defense. I'm like, I don't know where, like, a lot of people say things that's like, y'all just, one, get mad at something and you're biased for someone, that like you just take a certain angle when you attack this team or say negative things about this team, and you're not looking at it from a basketball, like you're not watching basketball. There's no way you're watching basketball for the last couple of years and been seeing that Phoenix Suns have an identity. It's the same thing. For some reason, with Golden State, they can plug and play whoever, and people are going to be like, it's Golden State. Not just because of Steph, but they'll say, yo, they have the Draymond, the defense, they have the system, they have this, they're going to have good, there's a level of structure that people know that Golden State operates with, that they're always going to not count them out because of that structure. Phoenix built a very similar structure, not the same play style or whatever, but a similar, like, no matter who's there, we're going to defend. We're going to have some standout defensive players like Draymond, etc., and Clay, but no matter who's there, we're all defending. It's a team defense thing. It doesn't work, but this league is too special and too talented for one man to have elite defense to control everything. No. It's team defense. We look at it with Boston, even with Marcus Smart, it's team defense. With Draymond, it's team defense. Even though that one player is elite defensively and takes it to a whole new level because they're the anchor and whatever, we get that. But it will never have that type of impact to that level that you see in terms of wins and results if there wasn't the level of team defense or a team defensive commitment or just a level of team defense continuity. It wouldn't exist, because we've seen great defensive players on bad defensive teams, and there's only so much they can impact. You know what I'm saying? Especially in a switch everything league. You're not necessarily locking up the best player, and then it's just you change you're on him for the most part, make it tough, but they switch you off now. That guy has to contain him for a bit. There has to be great help, great shading, great gapping, great rim protection. It's a team defense. Like, it's always been that, honestly. But it's even more that now when there's just blow-bys galore, great spacing, like switching everything. Back then they fought through screens. The bigs didn't really have a shot and stuff like that. So like you're not hiding, you're not running away from your primary matchup. It's rare that you get him off you. Where now it's rare that he's even on you. The primary matchup, they'll just look at when he was guarded him, he was 1 for 7. Only 7 shots, fam, out of your 25? Because you switch everything. Back then, 20 of those shots is on you, and only 5 is off you. Like, it's just a different league. Which now proves my point that team defense matters more. It holds more weight. So for the Suns, for y'all to look at, because Michael Bridges is gone, he was a great defender. I think he should have been Defensive Player of the Year, not Marcus Smart. He was a great defender. Cam Johnson was solid defender as well too. Great shooter, stuff like that. Jay Crowder, great defender. Sometimes he gets blown by whatever, but he, for the most part, great defender, great 3-and-D specialist. So that's like three solid to great defenders you're losing and shooters or whatever that you're losing. So I understand that you could look at the perspective, it depletes the bench, it depletes like that, like just that energy, that aura, that, that tempo in terms of defensive continuity. It just affects it drastically when you look at it from an individual standpoint that you think they're not going to be the same. But that's just a stupid mindset. That's just, you're not watching the game. Mikal Bridges, when he was defending mans, when they would switch everything, mans, their continuity, the way they would switch, and they had limited mistakes. That was a team defense that was like this. They didn't even need to talk or point to switch. They just auto switch and like no mistake. Even if you try to do some finesse screen that the guy might think I'm not switching, I'm fighting through like miscommunications, because that's what happens. People nowadays, it's not about doing shit to just get a man off you. You're doing shit because man switch everything auto. You're doing things to throw it off that like maybe he doesn't think he's gonna switch this one. If you just throw this quick slip in there, they might get confused. Now I'm open for three. Like you're trying to do unconventional things or conventional things, but because there's better skill, you make a mistake like this, you pay. A slight gap, you pay. A slight hesitant to switch, you pay. Like that's what this league's all about if you're paying attention. So when you're on a defensive continuity to rarely make a mistake, you make a mistake 1 out of every 15 or 12 possessions. That's great defensive continuity as a team. So the Suns operated like that, and that's where coaching matters. Getting everybody to buy into that level, no matter if you're a bad defender or not, you're in sync. There's gonna be moments where great defensive individual defense versus a guy who's not really good individually, you'll see where like he gets blown by or whatever the case is, because obviously you're not stopping any team from scoring in this league completely. But when you limit that, it's about the limitation. When you limit that, the chances of you being successful is very high, which is why the Suns for the last how many seasons have been a top 3-4 seed, top 3 seed, if anything. And even with all the injuries that they're going through and everything, Devin Booker not playing, Chris Paul not, they still have managed to be a number 4 seed. Obviously with Mikal Bridges there and all of that, because the defense continuity is there, that you're going to get transition. You'll get, like, that's what I'm talking about. So because Mikal is removed, and like I know a lot of people, that's what happens. When something happens just to the naked eye and something just happens drastically, a lot of people can't step outside of what has happened and kind of like just analyze the team. Josh Okogie has great defense. He's always had great defense. Like he's actually an elite defender. So yes, Mikal leaves. Like you got to understand, like from a GM perspective or a coaching perspective, we're not going to make a bold move if we know that we're going to drastically be depleted in one way. We're only going to make this bold move if we think it's going to enhance us. We might decrease a little bit here, but we're still going to be in this realm that now if we're increased over here that much, it's a plus. They're not going to make the move if they don't feel that there's another Mikal Bridges defender that is going to guard the best player that's on their team. You have Torrey Craig, you have Josh Okogie. Torrey Craig's been hitting more threes. Josh Okogie has been hitting threes. They're now establishing themselves as more of a 3-and-D guy because Torrey Craig is hesitant to shoot. He was only brought in to play more defense, back end role. But now when other guys remove, it's addition by subtraction for him. Now I have more of a role. Now I'm on the court more. Now I could show that I can hit the threes more. Now I have more confidence to shoot it because it's not like I'm only on the court for sparing minutes or small minutes that like if I miss this, I might not get a shot again. You pick your shots when you barely get any shots, when you barely get any minutes because you want to maximize your minutes. If I've been missing, if I have a stretch where I just miss 5 straight threes, they're going to take me off because now I'm a liability. Even my defense doesn't matter at this point. So you pick, I'm open. Don't shoot that there. You pick your spots. This is from like, stats can't show this. You have to hoop to know this. Like, you have to have been in these situation experience. You have to hoop for real to know these things. And this is why I'm passionate about what I speak about. And this is why a lot of people will think, like, if you really hear me, you hear me, right? Obviously, it's not conventional the way I speak. And like the language that I speak, the lens that I speak from is not conventional. Most people won't ever see it that way. But that's why there's a passion to try my best to do it. And I don't know everything, but I know a lot, fam. And no one gonna dictate or waver what I think because I hoop. And not just I hoop. I'm a purist. That's a different level. You know what I'm saying? Buckets in all fashion. So I preach, like, You know what I mean? Like, come on now. We don't gonna get into that. I sidetracked. My fault. But the point is, Craig is there. They got defenders. Damian Lee has defense. Like, they have so many. Shaman's not even back yet. Like, Terrence Ross was even playing that game. Like, that's from an offensive perspective. But they have a team defensive continuity, and it starts from Monty Williams. Chris Paul has good defense. I wouldn't say great now maybe in his career, but he's great in the passing lanes. He has great defense in some categories. What he used to be great at, he might not be fully great at. He's still solid in, but he's still always going to be great in passing lanes and steals and reaching and gambling and swiping and digging and going back. Like, those little things matter because now no one's on an island one-on-one. Devin Booker has been showing he has great defense. Y'all are just tripping if you're thinking Devin Booker hasn't been established and he's been having good to great defense. He has been. Just people just don't talk about it. He's literally like he's been playing. It's the same way they didn't talk about Klay's defense for a while until he's not of Klay's level, but he's been having very, very good defense. Okay, then you add Okogie, great defense. Craig, great defense. KD, great defense. Great rim protection. Like, I don't understand why people thought because of Michael Bridges being gone and Cam Johnson and Jake that they weren't gonna have great defense still. You saw last night. Granted, it was the Hornets. And no LaMelo, no PJ Washington. We get that. But in this league, gone are the days where that guy's missing it. Mans can still score on you because if they get hot, they get hot. There's so much ground you have to cover. You can miscommunicate on switches. You can be lackadaisical on defense, take it for granted, and Mans can just splash on you. They were contested on majority of their shots. Rarely did they have an open shot. Rarely did they have even open space. It was a lot of pads going on, switchability on everything. Like, they padded the Hornets. They had moments where they put their foot off the gas, but they padded the Hornets. They had great defense. Like, I was watching every minute of that game. Great defense. And I've been watching even before KD came. They know that we made a trade for the best player in the league. Everybody's locked in. They've always been locked in. They're on a string. That team has always been on a string. So, like, when you implement Kevin Durant to a great structure and a great team that's already on a string and you have him take over to a level that no one else could take over, that's a match made in heaven, which is what Golden State was. This is another version of that. So people are saying he needed Steph to win. If he now wins with this Phoenix, a lot of shit has to be put to rest because he won't get the excuses when other players that have done what he's done will get the excuses. You know what I'm saying? That's a different conversation for a different day, which we'll talk about. But like I said, this team, I can see them going out the gate, hitting the ground running. I can see them. I don't know how many games is left, maybe 20, 21, 22-ish around there. I can see them winning majority of those games because they've already had this kind of blueprint where they lock you up. They're going to outscore you because they're unguardable. Even before KD got there, even with Michael, they lock you up. They're going to score in transition because they lock you up. Then they're going to have efficient shots on offense because they have half-court bucket getters in the mid-range, etc. You double that. Now the 3-and-D guys are spotting up. There's a hierarchy in that where Devin Booker gets majority and he could do whatever. Chris Paul initiating is going to do whatever. It's always one of those two majority. But then also, too, Devin Booker could go off the ball, let Cam Payne initiate and run the PNR. Aiton's going to get his. But then if you double D-Book in the mid-range, now he kicks to the corner, a supreme 3-and-D, guys that could shoot. Like, it's the perfect blueprint. I've said that since the bubble before even Chris Paul got there. I've been said that. Now, when you add Chris Paul, it just took a higher point. Now, when you know what I mean, then you add Michael Bridges with the defense and whatever, it took to a higher point. Then and Cam Johnson shooting all that with the role took to a higher point. Now that you decrease Bridges and some of them a little bit, but now you add KD, and right, it's just now it goes to even higher point. And so I just feel like this is a well-oiled machine that only struggled because of injuries, and it shows you because they were the 4th seed. You add him to that, they're going back to number 1, 2 seed. It's hard for them to get number 1 seed right now at this point with the Nuggets, probably off the table. But they can get to the number 2 seed if they win 70 to 80% of their games. I just see them going out the gate running. I just can't see, like, this is just a match made in heaven. And you've seen it last night. So, and I've been seeing it before even leading up to. I'm like, you add KD to this, and then you add Terrence Ross coming in, you add Landry Shamet coming in, then you still got, I don't know why they're not using Darius Baisley, but whatever. You don't want to break something that's, I don't know, but whatever. Monty, well, he knows what he's doing, so I won't second guess anything he's doing. But this team is a different team, and for me, I expect a championship from this team. It's hard to do it in a quick turnaround like that, but because this is you had multiple years of that structure and majority of the structure is still there and it's just a couple pieces that's flipping, and then you add the fact that the piece that is flipping in terms of KD is a piece that doesn't need time to go to get to gel with a team. He never needed time. If it was another piece, I might say maybe 1 year after when you have training camp. He's not that type of. This is the same thing I was saying in Brooklyn. Like, you have these pieces that they don't need time because of the skill set that they're on. Like, gone are those days where every single time the generic cliche answer of, oh my God, you need time, you need a training camp, you need the gel, you need it's when you have so much skill and man's a cerebral at this point, you're running the same sets. You're like, there's only so much gelling that you don't, and you're at this point in your career when you've been doing this, like, you don't need, not everybody needs time to gel like that when you're of that ilk. And KD is of that ilk, so he doesn't need time. You've seen it yesterday. So again, I have high hopes for this team. Just efficiency, elite. KD, man, he's different, fam. D-Book, Chris Paul now is even this trade, I think, did more wonders for Chris Paul than anybody else because Devin Booker is already entering prime status. So he's already naturally in his trajectory going to do way more than what he was doing with Chris Paul, even though he was doing more because they had a 50-50 balance, right? Where it's like Chris Paul was like damn near averaging almost 20. Like it was not 50-50, but like in terms of how we play and how we operate, some plays it's me, I'm doing the mid-range dance and doing the snake pick and roll and shooting in the drop. Sometimes it's you. Like, we're balancing it. The points might not be resulting 50-50 and split, but the way they play in terms of how they use their sets coming up, that was what dictated in terms of 50-50. Like, it was literally like Chris Paul did a lot. Because he's passing more, it might not result in his points all the time, but he did a lot in terms of just him handling and running. Like, he had to use his legs. He had the flow. As you get older now, and that's why his injury is always an injury because he's doing a lot. He's doing a lot that, like, I don't know if his body at that point in his career can match what he's doing, especially in this new league with the space and the tempo, everything like that. But now that he's chilling, because KD's there, I'm literally just facilitating. I'll have moments where I do the mid-range shit based off of the PNR to get Ayton going and whatever. But for the most part, I'm just facilitating, getting assists here and there. Like, he's going through motions. And that helps his fatigue. That helps his durability. That reduces the chances of injury because, there's a CP3 curse out there. We already know that. But this helps. Everything helps this. Now I could take a seat back. Before me taking the seat back means D-Book had to do way more. But now you have KD there. I could just take a seat back right away. I don't have to wait for a D-Book to get to this level to take a seat back, even though D-Book is already at that level. You know what I mean? If you understand what I'm saying, you understand. So this helps Chris Paul to be just prime condition, mint condition in terms of just like, I'm here. I don't have to do much. So when I decide to do much or do something, it's just in moments. I just pick my spots. Like I wasn't able to pick my spots, even though he always picks his spots. His spots that he had to pick was way more. Now he could pick his spots he could just pick like, I'm just going to take 5 shots and those 5 shots will come here. For the most part, I'm facilitating. He don't have to do shit. So that's beautiful, especially when you have a team at this caliber. So, and Ayton also increasing a lot of he's doing post phase hooks. Like, Ayton could even do way more. People thought Ayton was sacrifice. I'm like, dog, when they double, like when they run these picks and they double and they trap, not double, they trap KD and D-Book off these PNRs and even CP3, Ayton's going to be eating even more. Like, I don't know. I just understand basketball differently. I don't know where people got this Ayton's going to take a backseat from. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is the first time KD has actually played with a center that he could just dump it to and he's going to do a turnaround fade and a hook. Like, he had Ibaka who could do it here and there and other situations, situationally. But like, Ayton, he doesn't need to dunk to get 25 points. Like, he has skill, soft touch. Like, he's nice. Ayton is nice. Like, which is why he got the money. So, I'm telling y'all, this could be a dynasty in the making. We'll see. I'm excited, obviously. And then now too, Chris Paul is just the leader. I even seen last night when they were decreasing in terms of like taking their foot off the gas. Chris Paul came and yelled at them like, "Lock, yo, what are y'all?" Because they didn't switch. They had a miscommunication on defense, and he literally yelled at them like, "Dog, like that shit can't happen. Clean that shit up. Like, what are y'all?" He actually yelled recklessly at them. Clean that shit up. What's wrong with y'all?
A team attempting the free throw,
especially as many 2-point shots as they take.
And he brought them into the huddle after because it resulted to a foul. He's like, clean that shit up, yo. And every man was like, and then all of a sudden, couple stops. You know what I mean? Like, Chris, that's the leadership side. If y'all want to say Katie don't have leadership, which I think is cap because there's different forms of leadership. There's lead by example. Kawhi don't need to say shit. But because he's doing shit out there and he's the one getting steals, it automatically elevates everybody else to like, okay, we here now. We locked in. You don't have to say lock in. There's just personality. I don't have to say lock in. If I'm locked in, you see that I'm locked in. I'm doing amazing shit out here right now. I got that steal that I shouldn't have never got. I did the dive steal. I should have never got. Now y'all lock into a whole new. I don't need to say nothing. Then there's another type of leadership where you have to talk. You're talking and leading. That's the Draymond. That's the Chris Paul. Some would even say LeBron does some of that, right? You see the Kobe's, the MJs. Like there's a different level of it. So when you look at it from that perspective, the Chris Paul's there. So if you want to knock Katie's leadership style, he can lead by example, and then you also have the vocal leadership guy in Chris Paul. Like there's literally rarely any negatives to say about this Suns team. Like they have every ground covered. Because some teams will have the guy who talks, but they don't have the leader by example. Or the guy who's getting buckets, who should be leader by example, he's kind of lazy sometimes. He doesn't have great defense. Because, like, if you want to say Steph Curry's leader by example, he's leader by example maybe on offense. But on defense, you know, he's making mistakes. He's not. So that's not really leader by example. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Kawhi would be leader by I don't make mistakes that much. Katie, I don't really make mistakes that much. I'm here locked in on defense. I'm locked in on offense. I don't need to say much. But even then, you see Katie yell at guys too. So I think that is just cap. I don't know what niggas is watching. But anyways, the point is they have every ground covered. If you want to have that narrative that Katie doesn't lead by example, you still have that Chris Paul Katie is not a leader and he lacks leadership. You have Chris Paul who you know damn well he don't lack leadership because wherever he goes, the team turn up like this. They might not win a ring. That's a different level. But the team they turn up like this. So, you know, I'm happy, you know, that out of the Brooklyn Nets situation, KD finally got to a situation that he's kind of always really wanted. He's been loving D-Book. You know, he's been seeing like the Suns is basically what the Nets was supposed to be. Let's keep it a bean. In terms of the structure, remember they're building structure and they have Kyrie, D-Book. You know, it's apples and oranges, but they're in the same realm of bucket getting, different, like one of the top 20, whatever talent ever played, 30, like D-Book is of that ilk, Kyrie's of that ilk. KD has his dynamic duo in that. You know what I'm saying? But then that structure and that team poise, 3-and-D, everything like continuity, detail, attention, like that the Suns have that way more than the Nets ever had that. And this is what the Nets, in Katie's mind, probably the Nets was supposed to be what the Suns actually are. So when you look at it from that perspective, like, I that's why I told you, I'm like, if nothing works out with the Nets, I promise you, the Suns is his next. I already know this. Like, you don't need to talk to man. You just know hoop is hoop. You could just tell by this person's play style, personality, what they view things and their ideologies in terms of just the sport and how they operate, what they want. And especially where he came from in Golden State, and that's where he learned and seen the structure where it matters. The only place that could duplicate that is Phoenix is doing some Golden State shit in terms of structure, team structure. A lot of other places aren't doing that. So, and they did it from the ground up, like Golden State did. From before that bubble shit, they did it from the ground up. And then they just made trades to elevate it. So, you know, I kind of seen this from a mile away, but you already know. It's true talks. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no doubt here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. You already know. And I'm out, man.